Hey guys, this is my assignment for the Myofascial lines practical assessment. I've got my lovely assistant here, my doll Trolley from when I was a kid, and he is going to graciously help us to identify the different lines in the body. So I'm going to do this in segments, and we're going to get started. Thank you, Trolley. Okay, so first up we have the superficial back line, or the SBL. So as you can see, we've got all the lines marked here on the back of Trolley. So the superficial back line runs all the way from the bottom of the feet, up the back, all the way to the brow. So posturally, the SBL supports the body in a full upright extension, preventing flexion. The high proportion of slow twitch endurance muscles in this band help for the constant postural demands required, and there's extra heavy sheets and bands in the fascial portion. The only flexion in this band happens at the knee. Besides this flexion point, everything else, the overall movement function, is extension and hyperextension. Because we're born in a flexed position, the development of strength and competence and balance in the SBL is linked with maturity. So that is the SBL. Okay, so our next line here is the superficial front line. As you can see, Trolley is taped from his toes up to his pelvis. Then we go from the pelvis up the front of the body and actually around the head. Not a very pretty tape job. So the superficial front line is to balance the superficial back line, and it provides tensile support from the top to lift the parts of the skeletal system which extend forward in front of the line of gravity. So that's the pubis, the ribcage, and the face. It maintains postural extension of the knee as well. Extension. For movement function, the overall function is to create flexion of the trunk and the hips and extension at the knee. This line contains a very high percentage of fast twitch muscles. So that is the superficial front line. Okay, so next up we've got the lateral line, as you can see here. So Trolley is currently taped up with the lateral line. It starts from the midpoint of the foot up the side of the leg. It has a basket weave along the side and the rib cage and comes up the back and inserts in the base of the skull and also here in the front. The lateral line balances the front and the back of the body, as well as the left and the right side of the body. It mediates forces among the other superficial lines, so the SBL, the SFL, the arm lines, and the spiral line. And it often stabilizes the trunk and legs in a coordinating manner to prevent buckling of the structure during activity. Movement-wise, the LL participates in creating lateral bending of the body, like that, and flexion of the trunk, as well as abduction of the hip and eversion of the foot. It also acts as a brake for lateral and rotational movements of the trunk. Okay, so last up is the spiral line. The spiral line starts in the back of the head, works in a double helix around the body, comes underneath, and then back up the leg and back up to insert back on the base of the skull. Spiral line helps to maintain balance across all planes. It helps to determine the efficiency of knee tracking during walking, as it connects the foot arch to the pelvic angle. During imbalance, the spiral line helps to create, compensate for, and maintain twists and rotations and lateral shifts in the body. Much of the myofascia in the spiral line is also part of the SFL, the SBL, and the LL lines, as well as the deep back arm lines. Dysfunction can easily affect all of the other lines, or some. The spiral line is rarely in balance, as most people usually have a dominant side. Trolley is right-handed. So for movement, the function overall is to create and mediate spirals and rotations in the body, and eccentric and isometric contractions to steady the trunk to prevent the legs from collapsing rotationally. Okay, so just to wrap things up here, we've got just a little demonstration of the functional lines of the body, two of them, the front and the back. So the back and the front Both of these lines create an X across the front and the back of the torso. They are called functional because they're actually rarely employed as the other lines are in posture, and they're primarily used during athletics or special activities. So a little demonstration here. The back of the back line would shorten as the pitcher prepares for a baseball pitch. So the back line would shorten here, the front would lengthen, and then as the actual pitch happens, and the arm comes forward, the front line would shorten and the back would lengthen, so they work together. And that is my demonstration of the myofascial lines of the body. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to my wonderful assistant who agreed to nude up and get taped up for this assignment.